If you haven't seen, HighLevel has been pushing out some massive updates for both conversational and voice AI at an alarming rate. And in this video, we've actually had time to play with all these features for quite a while now, and we're gonna break it down to in a full masterclass for voice. Now, we're gonna go over inbound, outbound, and even the voice widget. So stay tuned till the end, and you will probably be an expert with voice AI through GHL, not third-party software, not crazy complex workflows in GHL. So let's get to it.
Yeah, so also at the same time, as you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to be doing a live demo. I'm going to have this AI call Jeff, so Jeff can talk to Chloe, or Dakota. I like to call Dakota.
Yeah, I was going to say about Dakota.
Yeah, so it's going to be a full-blown masterclass, so let's pop right into it. Let's not waste any of your time. We're going to be in the voice AI tab here in the actual AI agents here. So we're going to see two things. Number one, there's a whole separate video where we talk about enabling outbound and enabling some of these updated features. Please go watch that video where we actually discuss turning those things on. If you don't have this turned on, please go do that. With that being said, let's hop into actually creating an agent, going through all of the buttons so you know exactly from scratch. So you know exactly what you're going to be doing. At the very end of the video, we'll be demoing an AI agent live, calling Jeff, and Jeff's going to be wild.
I hope you do a good job.
Come on now. Okay, so first things first, you can either browse the marketplace, but honestly, personally, I think whenever you're browsing the marketplace, you can find foundational things that you can use to actually get you up and running faster. Don't fully rely on these marketplace templates to be the end all be all. Use them as foundations, make your adjustments, and then build from there.
Two things with that. Yeah, you never know what's in the marketplace. There's a lot of people that submitted stuff to win a contest and may not have actually worked with a lot of businesses. That's not a shot to anybody. There's some really good ones in there as well, but it is great to build from scratch or build from foundations you know were actually built for real businesses. A lot of the times what we see is people overprompt or overcomplicate building bots because they've never actually worked with real businesses, and they make it way too complex. Businesses need simple solutions so they're scalable, and we're going to show you how to do that from scratch, and we'll also tell you how to get access to some that are already built for businesses so you can deploy them fast.
Yeah, indeed. And we'll talk about prompting here in a little bit, about some new updates that they made in regards to prompting and how over prompting is actually costing you more money. Okay, so the first things first, we're going to sit on this page. When we get to this page, you're going to see agent details, agent goals, and phone availability. Now, all of these settings as well, this is not end all be all. If you add these settings, if you change the name and you save it and you go to the next and you create this bot, you're
stuck.
No, you can go back and you can edit these things as well. So typically, majority of the time, if I'm being completely honest, I'm going to go and I'm going to create a foundational, see what's going on, and then over time, I'm going to make my updates based off of live data. I want to add that one more time.
What kind of data is the best data?
Live data. Live data is the best data. So when we're coming into these aspects and we're trying to build these bots, for number one, I'm always using Chloe. I'm using a girl's name. I've typically seen across the board with clients, if you add a guy's name, there's a little bit of friction there. Don't ask me why. I've just noticed that. I don't know what the stats are around people talking to girls versus guys as a receptionist, but we've seen Chloe has gotten us. She's done pretty well across the board for us. Yeah. So, but with all this being said, again, at the same time, it's not like, oh, I can't never go back and change Chloe's name. No, we can go back and make the necessary edits if need be.
One thing with that, shout out Russ Ward. I think we got Chloe and Bella was a couple that he said, and I was like, those are actually pretty good, non-intimidating names. The other cool thing about that is typically there's not a Chloe or a Bella working at these locations. And I do think it to be important to know if somebody has the same name as your bot, because people will literally call in saying, hey, I talked to Chloe, because sometimes they do not know that it's a bot. Sometimes they do. So if that's something to be considered, at least check with the business you're working with to not cause confusion, or if they want that, if they want it to be, oh, I talked to Jessica because there's a Jessica there. And so just think about that when you're making a name there.
Indeed. And then we'll add the business name. For this instance, we're going to be building a detail bot that's going to be handling car detailing situations, interior, exterior. We'll go through all the prompting here in a little bit. So plus detailing is the business name. This is going to be the name that the bot's going to actually be able to reference throughout the conversations. Okay.
And it pre-populates the sub-account name typically. So if you use your sub-account names for labeling like we do in our agency, because we sometimes have multiple tri-state total cares, etc. Just make sure that you fix that so it doesn't have some crazy long name with info that you don't want in there.
Indeed. Okay, and then obviously selecting your language. Typically, we're going to be on English, and you can see a list of all the different languages that is currently active, like multilingual. Cool. Yeah. It's actually really, really cool. So obviously use the language that is best for you. Okay. All right, next thing is going to be voice. I think this is probably one of the most slept on and most important aspects to all of this voice AI is picking a proper voice. You're going to see there is so many different voices. And I believe you're going to see like high quality. And if we go back to over here, you're going to, some of the little tags are going to be gone. And it obviously tells you male to female, high quality or not.
It says accent too. So
yeah,
accent Indian, but English language.
Exactly. So you can actually change, and you obviously had the filter of like high quality only. Personally, I'm only going to use the high quality ones if I'm being completely honest. And then if I'm being honest as well, I love, this is Dakota. Now, Dakota's.
He said it, guy. You heard it here first. He loves Dakota. We have progressed in the relationship status here.
This is my go-to voice. Dakota is my go-to voice at this point in time. At the point of shooting this video, there is going to be future updates that you can actually, obviously pick better voices. But for now, Dakota, what I've seen from testing all of these and going through pretty much almost every single one of these bot voices, literally sitting down for like hours and literally listening to them.
Yes.
I even had like a handful of them call my girlfriend and friends, like, hey, call this bot, talk to it. Which one sounds better? And Dakota took the cake thus far for like the best accent. So I'm using Dakota, but you can always pick which one works best for you. You can play the little snippet, and each one will have like a little 5 to 10 second snippet of what it actually sounds like. And yeah, you just pick whatever you think sounds best. And also at the same time, like pick one that matches the like identity and the brand of the company as well.
And I do want to say something real quick. Dakota does sound the most natural and most human, but I should have said this earlier in the video. Yeah. Nobody, end user wise, customers are not going to complain that your voice AI doesn't sound 100% human. In fact, if that's your goal, is to make it like bamboozle people into thinking it's an actual human, you've already lost.
Yep.
People do not care if it's an AI. They do not care if it has the slight little pauses and stuff like that. I just want to make that known, because the only people that ever complain about the voice sounding not human or pauses are marketers and sometimes business owners. But again, end user data, like I don't think we've ever had a single person from one of our clients that complained that it was a bot, unless it was a marketer calling our bot to funnel hack, bot hack, etc.
Bot hack, that's funny. Okay, and then time zone. This is also very important, especially if you're booking appointments. Make sure you're matching up the time zone with the client's time zone. So if you're in CST and they're in the Pacific time, make sure that the client facing is the actual time zone that the bot has. I've seen issues where people don't understand this and they're picking their time zone, not their client's time zone, which will then cause confusions with booking appointments, and you don't want that. All right, next thing we're talking about LLMs. So at this point in time, they have Gemini, Claude, and GPT.
Which this is new. This is really cool.
This is actually really new. So
shout out AI team, Karan and team. Oh man, y'all are killing it.
So you can actually pick which LLM you want to utilize when it comes to actually generating these voices as well. You can see there's a recommended one. There's going to be a difference. I can guarantee there's going to be a slight difference. I think for what we noticed on like the Claude side, it's a little bit more creative, but at the same time, going back to what Jeff said, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to go with the recommended and then go from there, right? You can go.
And go. What's the best kind of data?
Live data.
Live data. Yeah. So again, do not put too much time into like the little nuances here. I'm telling you, like the best thing to do with anything is, if you're actually building one for a real client, is to get it out there in the wild and set proper expectations with your clients. I have never had a single client, and I was going to say knock on wood. I don't need to knock on wood. I set expectations properly. But when you set expectations properly with your client, hey, it's going to be about 80% of the way there. There's going to be some little finickiness. We're going to have to like prompt out of here. So I'm going to pay attention to these conversations for the next couple of weeks. If we get feedback from customers or you have any, let me know. We'll fix it, but fully expect it's going to have a little, things we're going to have to adjust. And if you set that, you're going to be fine. So again, don't sit here and like, you don't have to go through and like test all of these and, I think I want to go with this one. Like that is so irrelevant. Just get to deployment for actual use cases. And then when you find out people don't complain or think it's as critical as you think it is, you're like, dang, I could have saved so much more time. So the other thing to pay attention to is the different rates.
Yes.
This will run up a bill and we haven't seen any crazy bills from any of our real use cases, but some of these are 10 times more expensive than others. Yeah. So just make sure you pay attention to that.
Yeah. So again, same thing what he said, just pick one and go. I'm going to use the recommended one. I recommend you use the recommended one and then go from there. Make the updates as necessary.
I recommend you use the recommended one.
Awesome. Okay. So greeting messages, message confirmation. So this is actually very, very important because you can see I have Outbound enabled. Again, we have a whole video on actually how to utilize Outbound at a even more in-depth way and actually how to enable Outbound. If you haven't already watched that video, please go watch that and then come back here. So inbound, this is going to be the agent's initial message. So Jeff calls Chloe, Dakota, And then here's what Dakota is going to say. Hey, you've reached CEO Lab Alpha Clicks. How can I help you today?
And notice this used our other pre-filled one from the sub account. So this is something I see overlooked quite a few times when somebody's building bots, is not going through and just replacing where it pre-fills or pre-populates information. So we're just matching what we said up there or how we want it to greet. And this is another cool thing. You can have it greet how you would want it to greet. So for instance, here's some secret sauce. Like for when you're working as an agency, if you're using voice AI on the back of a phone number that you're maybe collecting leads and shooting out those SMS that go out, and somebody calls it and you want to say, hey, thanks for calling Plus Plus Wellness, home of the contour light. Are you calling about our special today? Like you can have it say things or answer the phone with a script if you want it to inspire a conversation to go away that you want. So just a little secret sauce to think about there.
Of course. So, and then I also want to touch on this really, really quick. This is something that I personally ran into is I capitalize a lot because I just do. It's a weird little habit, but I've noticed, and I've gotten this from the actual, we'll go talk about the evaluating prompts, that whenever you capitalize stuff,
does it emphasize it harder?
It emphasizes it harder, and it actually reads it a little bit different. The AI reads it a little bit different. So it says a little bit different. So one of the things that I had noticed, if you put it in regular lowercase, like as you would spell anything, it actually reads it in a better, more efficient, effective way.
And another thing I'd maybe do is put a space between plus here. Like that's one thing. Like we spell alpha clicks, a certain way. If your client's business name is not a typical name, sometimes you even misspell it on purpose to get the enunciation right. So do take that into consideration, because this one sometimes it's like plus. Or like, instead of like plus detailing,
it'll think it's one word. Like it's crazy. So having the space is important. And then again, the lowercase aspect is also important. So take those type of things in consideration. And it's funny because no one talks about those little small things. And like, unless you're actually working with
they're probably not working with any business.
Like that's so important, because whenever this is the first thing they're hearing, and they hear blah, 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 like blah, blah, detailing, like it's going to be what the heck?
Blues. Like,
what?
So
that's the first page. And then we'll click on the advanced settings to hit this little mini page inside of the first page. So this is also really cool. Some of these settings in here, we'll talk about the call settings first here. So maximum time. You do not think about two things. Number one, too short, it'll instantly cut off the call. And then somebody's going to have called in looking for services. If you put it at literally 2 minutes and you're only letting people talk for 3 minutes, it doesn't let you go longer than 2. So you're letting only people talk for 3 minutes. The call is going to go dead. It's going to automatically turn off at 3 minutes. So if they don't have their answers questions, they're going to get hung up on, and they're going to be like, why did you just hang up on me? Oh, on to the next.
Yeah, and there's really only 2 reasons you'd want to do this that I can think of. If anybody else has any other reasons, drop them below in the comments. I'd love to hear what they are. But if you are trying to keep them to a certain amount of time to either save money, keep the conversations brisk, or there is an uprise of, since AI outbound is a thing, outbound bots calling and then bots interacting with each other, and then that can literally prolong the conversation, which doesn't happen a ton. But if you see that it happens with another number, 2 things. Probably get a new number, because sometimes you'll get one that's been recycled and you get all these crazy spam things. But 2, just make sure you're not running up any crazy bills. Sometimes it's just fun to listen to it, though.
Of course. And so with that being said, the recommendation, or the first thing is, too short of a call is you don't want the AI to just automatically hang up on somebody's face. Number 2, you also don't want to run up a bill and have it set to 15 minutes, and now you're having a bunch of AI versus AI conversations at 15 minutes at 20 seconds per minute, right? You can do the math there. So typically what I'm going to do, set it at 8 minutes, set it at 10 minutes. And then what do we do with live data? We make the necessary updates. Maybe we go, and obviously we're monitoring our conversations whenever our AI goes live, and 8 minutes is solid. Most of the conversations are not even past 8 minutes. They're only past 6 minutes. So let's put it at 7 to save that extra minute, right? Maybe they're a little bit longer, and at 8 minutes, we're getting cut off on the last question. Let's change it to 11 minutes, etc., and make those necessary updates with live data, because it's your best friend. But for the time being, 8 to 10 minutes, in my personal opinion, has been like the sweet spot for us.
Yeah, and the only other thing I would say is do try to calculate the volume. Like if you're setting this live and it's for a call center or something, you're getting hundreds of calls a day, definitely take that in consideration. If you're doing this for like a local business and they maybe get 5 calls a day, you could go and put it at the highest setting. And then again, just like look at the live data, like Charles says, and then scale back or, increase. Well, you can't go more than 15 minutes, but live data.
Live data. And then we have the idle time and reminder frequency. So what this basically means is, like, if Dakota's on a phone call with Jeff and Dakota says like, hey, are you ready to book an appointment? And Jeff doesn't say anything. He just goes quiet. After 4 seconds, Dakota will be like, "Hey Jeff, are you still there? You ready to book that appointment?" And then you can also set it how many times can Dakota do that, right? So we can set it up to 5 times, because if the bot says like, "Hey Jeff, are you ready to book the appointment?" Jeff doesn't say anything for another 4 seconds, it can go again, right? So I honestly personally have been utilizing this twice, and I'm putting it at 5 seconds, so 5 and 2, because a little 5-second pause, letting people think about stuff, has been completely fine for me, and then only twice.
I think I've noticed too with the insurance clients that you've been working with, it's usually an older demographic, and there is like a natural, they take 3 to 4 seconds to respond. So again, very industry specific. If you're targeting older demographic, you might need to have longer pauses in there. Because again, especially if you're the older demographic, they're most likely not going to know this is AI. Most people don't, especially like I said, your older crowd.
Yeah.
And they take longer to respond. And if think about it, if you're rushing them, like, like they're going to get upset, because they're going to think the AI is rude. And so
this is very true.
You think about these things.
I've seen this where I set it a little bit lower. I set it to 3 seconds, and then literally mid call, it's like, "Hey, Suzanne, are you ready to move forward?" And she's like, "I'm thinking, God." Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, so let's move this up. And a live data is the best data. We're going to continue to say that. And if at the end of this video, if you're not understanding that live data is the best data, I think we failed.
Actually, yeah, if you understand it, please drop it in the comments. Like,
live data is the best data.
We'll give you a virtual cookie emoji, something.
Okay, so ideal title reminder, ideal idle time and reminder frequency. Sorry, 5 seconds and 2 times. Okay, that's mine, what I like to use. So agent behavior, response speed. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest things that you should be looking for. Again, this is going to be based off of industry. Fast, pretty much Dakota's having a call with Jeff. As soon as Jeff says something, you can determine how long do we want to wait until Dakota responds to Jeff. If it's fast, it's going to be as soon as Jeff finishes his sentence, it's literally going to be like, boom. Fast, like right as Dakota's going to say the next sentence and ask the next question.
Oh, go ahead. I do have a question about this for you.
Yeah. So typically, I've honestly seen the difference. And sometimes normal is too long. Well, Jeff will say something and then it's like too long of a pause and then the response. So I'm typically sitting it at moderate. I'm putting it right in the middle, and it's just going to like, hey, Jeff says something, and I try to get it on like a normal response speed, right? So normal, in my opinion, is a little too slow. Fast is too fast. I'm leaving it right at moderate.
Now, the question I have, and I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, does this also kind of depend on like prompting and how it's trained to answer questions? Because like, does it take a little longer? Because I've noticed like moderate on one bot and moderate on another bot sometimes are a little bit different, but the complex bot sometimes takes a little longer to respond because it's got a lot more prompting and knowledge base. Is that something to take into consideration?
Yeah, I would take that in consideration. Not necessarily it's going to make a huge difference, but we have seen that is like if we have a knowledge base with a bunch of stuff to actually take into consideration before it responds. Yes, it's going to may take a slight, but I don't think you'll notice a huge difference.
And I guess that'll probably get better and better over time. So
yeah, you'll mostly see a difference between your settings here of like normal, moderate, and fast. Personally, I'm leaving all my bots on moderate at this point in time, which for future updates with Voice AI, I will probably make this adjustment over time. So yeah, moderate for me, fast is way too fast, normal, a little too slow. Okay, so interruption sensitivity, I'm leaving this at 0.75. Pretty much what this is going to do is if Jeff and the Dakota are having a conversation and Jeff like mid sentence of Dakota or like mid sentence of Dakota, she's saying something and Jeff goes, wait, what's the pricing? It'll pause the conversation. Rather, if you're lowering it, right? So if we're lowering it and if Jeff says something, it's not going to stop. If we're hiding it, if Jeff just goes, it's then going to stop. So you have to be mindful. I'm personally leaving it at 75.
Which is preset like that because that's the recommendation, right?
Yeah. So how easily can the AI be interrupted during speech? I'm leaving it at 75, and I haven't really seen any issues with that.
And again, when you're listening to the calls, because you're going to want to watch the first few calls you roll out for clients like a hawk. But if you're listening and the bot's saying something and somebody starts to interrupt and if it makes the conversation awkward, then of course you need to like play with this. Again, you leave it on this setting, it's most likely, depending on the industry, you're most likely not going to have to change it.
Yeah. Okay. And then LLM temperature. So this is actually really cool too. So you can actually control the creativity. Personally, the highest I've ever been is 25. I've played with it at a little bit of a higher, like 75, and it was a little too creative and it kind of went off its own beaten path. So be mindful when we're messing with this. So if you want to tweak this, again, all this is going to do is like if you have a structure and like what you're trying to accomplish during this conversation with AI and the client, it may veer off path just a tad bit and, you know, create its own little questions in between your questions. And then you can see the lower value yields better functional call results. So I'm typically leaving this on 0, the recommended, but I've also increased it to 0.25. So again, play it by ear. Too creative, again, is a little too creative, and the conversations will start to go a little longer as well. So yeah. All right. Next thing is voice settings. So your voice speed. So how fast are they talking?
Sorry, some of this stuff is really cool.
Yeah, how fast are they talking? And also this stuff is pretty new, y'all guys. We previously didn't have the luxury when we were like first getting into all of this. It was super fast and then super slow at some points, and then it was just super fast for sometimes. I'm leaving this at 1. The only thing I have done is increased it a tad bit to 1.10, but most of the time I'm just going to leave it at 1. I think they've done a bunch of awesome back-end prompting and back-end setup to like even out and make the voice and the calls pretty consistent. Again, live data is the best data, and you'll make your necessary tweaks based off the industry. Again, if we're in the insurance, maybe we want to slow things down because we're talking to, you know, people in their 50s and 60s trying to book these calls. So let's slow the speed of the conversation a little bit.
That's a good point. Yeah, depending on what you're talking about too. So demographic, who you're talking to, older crowd, definitely slow it down. Also, if you're talking about shouldn't be talking about too complex of things, but if you are talking about complex things, like one of our docs, red light therapy, and it gets into like mitochondrial energy, which I think is something you probably shouldn't be talking to with most leads. But if you're talking about more complex things, do compensate with voice speed sometimes because it'll rattle off things very quickly, and you just want to make sure that you're not, it's not going over people's heads. So like that'll lower your conversions for sure.
But for the most part, to start off, 1, leaving it at the normal speed, you're completely fine. Get up and running, and then make adjustments later on. Okay. Voice temperature as well. So it's kind of similar to like the creativity of like how heightened, how much emotion are you going to want within your bot. Dakota, is she going to be giggly? Is she going to be more mellow? Is it going to be more monotone as well? Again, I'm leaving it at the recommended here. If it's calm or is it more emotional? I've played with it a little bit more on the emotional side. And that's also been a little okay, but I've tested it and like had internal tests. I think this is a little too much for me. It was a little too high end. I think it was a little too much. So I'm leaving it at the recommended and then increasing it just a little bit if necessary. So.
Again, also case by case, niche specific. We were talking to Justin Nall, I think it was, when he got his award at Level Up, and he deals in funeral homes. Mm-hmm. So being more emotional might be, a thing that you should do.
Yeah, and it's also like based off the voice too. Like the voice you pick and you increase. If like the voice you pick is like super super giggly laughing and it becomes emotional at the same time, it's like it's gonna create this like funny
bipolar.
Yeah, like I could see that as well. So voice temperature is also important, and then voice volume, leaving it at 100%. I haven't needed to change.
Unless you're selling hearing aids.
Yeah, unless you're selling hearing aids. I haven't needed to change this literally at all. I haven't had any issues with this whatsoever. But again, for the case, maybe you're talking to an older demographic, increase the volume. Test this out before you're sending it live. Don't just increase it all the way to 200 and then just like let people talk to this thing.
Or if you're making a voice AI girlfriend, you want her to whisper sweet little nothings into your ear, maybe turn it really low.
You're a little bit 25%. Okay. Yeah, that's all for the voice settings, guys.
No. Go down one more.
We got one more, but
background set.
I want to touch on all these before we get to the last one because that one's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one's my favorite.
Cool. Like, it's pretty cool.
Like, don't forget it.
So for the most part, before we get to the last one, most of the time, guys, I'm getting my bots up and running with the foundational settings that it's already coming with. I'm not necessarily changing anything. Like, if I'm being honest, I'm not even opening these settings whenever I'm creating a new bot. I'm creating my basic stuff, going to the next, and then focusing on prompting and all that good stuff. And then based off live data, coming over here to make my necessary tweaks. The only thing I'll change is literally changing it from fast to moderate if it's on fast for some reason, but most of the time it's on normal or moderate. But I'm not really coming here to change anything because I won't know until I know, right? So you won't know until you have the
jump
data.
Into the water, cannonball into the water. Don't dip your toe.
Cannonball. The one thing that actually is really cool, and this is probably one of my favorite things, is background sound. So you can actually add a couple of different background sounds to these. So coffee shop, again, based off your setting. If you are doing like the call center, honestly, it's pretty cool. People would think the call center would be bad,
but
if
you hear
you're
people
doing,
talking and
it's like if you're like Medicare, if you're like life insurance or something like that, a call center for that honestly makes a kind of a lot of sense. If like you're doing car insurance or something like that, it makes sense for them to be calling out of a call center, right? So
if you do meditation, maybe mountain
outdoor, like summer outdoor, a coffee shop. If you're, if I don't know, if you're B2B or B2C, if you're doing something like that, you're at a coffee shop, and it's a like it could be like you're helping the sole entrepreneur who just hired an assistant, and now this assistant is making calls on behalf of this entrepreneur. It's like, oh, I'm calling from a coffee shop, right? So you can take those things into consideration.
Again, don't put too much time or emphasis into this. We use the call center one a lot.
That's the one I use.
It's funny because like when I was doing the demos for the ads the other day, Renee's like, wait, that's AI? Like I hear stuff in the background. Like I was like, yeah, like they got this new feature.
Yeah.
That one's really cool. But again, think about that. That is meant to make it more realistic, but it also helps mask pauses or awkwardness with the voice. So if you do want that more realistic experience, this does help. And yes, it is extra stuff in the background, but it kind of, I don't like saying it tricks the brain into thinking you're talking to a real person. I mean, that's kind of what it was intended for. But again, don't be like obsessing over it has to sound 100% human. If you enable one of these, like we've never had anybody think they were talking to a bot or complain about it at least.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And then again, for my personal pick, most of the time I'm using call centers. I mess with all of these. They all sound pretty cool, but call centers for the clients that I'm currently operating on, it makes the most sense to click call centers, or I'm doing none and they're listening to silence. That's all they got. Okay. So let's confirm this. And you can also reset the defaults if you want. And let's go next. So that was pretty much it for number 1, agent details, going through all of these settings here, going through the advanced settings, picking the LLM. And now we'll go
on the Outbound real quick.
Yes. Outbound. Thank you so much.
Okay. Since that's a newer feature.
Outbound. This is also, thank you. This is so important. Change this based off of the business you're working with. So you'll automatically 100% of the time, regardless of whatever you want to do, you have to, and this will automatically be set to have a disclaimer. So you're doing an outbound call. Every single AI outbound call will automatically start with this right here. Hi, Jessica, this is CEO Lab by AlphaClick's AI assistant. You can say, don't call me again to opt out. Every single time. Every single outbound call will include this. So with that, GHL has allowed you to actually select what type of opt-out language you want. You can do concise, which would be this. You can do standard, which would be this. Hi, Jessica, this is Chloe, an AI assistant with plus detailing. If you'd prefer not to receive this call, just say, don't call me again to opt out. Or you can do conversational. This is a little too lengthy. Personally, the one that I'm using at this point is standard. I feel like it's just pretty a mix of in between. It's not super just straight to the point, but it's also not long like in conversational. And you can see there's a bunch of different little questions here. So I'm going to do standard. And then you can also add, like for instance, I'm calling about your upcoming appointment. I'm calling. Oh, sorry about that. I'm calling because you requested more information
about
our services.
I'm going to speed this up, but a funny voice.
So now this is what it'll say. Hi, Jessica. This is Chloe, an AI assistant with plus detailing. If you prefer not to receive these calls, just say, don't call me again to opt out. I'm calling because you requested more information about our services. Boom. Right? So now it's like, hey, just get it out the way and then roll into what we're calling about. I'm calling for your upcoming appointment. I'm calling because you requested for this, or ask a question. What service were you interested in? But roll off of that opt out, with something that's preferably to the next point.
And I've had a few marketers say, oh, I don't want to use GHL's AI for the outbound because it says I'm an AI assistant. Again, always the marketers that complain about this stuff are never really doing anything like crazy. They're overthinking this stuff. Like people are actually having fun talking to the AI assistants because it's new. There will be a time where like people do not want to talk to AI and they'd rather talk to a human. But again, don't overthink it because it says all that.
Yeah.
Like don't let it derail you.
And number 2, I would much rather stay in the clear of laws and regulations.
No gray areas.
No gray areas for me personally.
And it's all gray.
How we operate, no gray areas. And this is off the front end. If you're doing outbound, hey, this is an AI assistant with plus detailing. They know. They know they're talking to AI. There's no ifs, ands, or questions about it. They can't sue or anything crazy because like you.
Well, this is not legal advice. First off,
Exactly that. But this is all of this stuff has been set in place by HighLevel. One of the things that they actually mentioned at the Level Up Summit this past year was how they were waiting to do Outbound because they were trying to understand all the regulations and like make sure that us as users were going to be safe with all this stuff as well. So utilizing this stuff, in my personal opinion, is actually pretty solid.
Because they're getting more like strict with like regulations and stuff like that. If you guys know about the Texas SB 140 and all that stuff, like so do be cautious, but think of these things as bumpers to protect you and don't get upset that they're there, because this will just even the playing field for everybody and make sure that you're in the clear more times than not. Again, not legal advice, but does help here.
Indeed. Okay. And then the last two things on this page are going to be your opt-out mechanisms, and you'll be able to potentially add this very, very coming soon. So press 9 at any time or post call SMS opt-out as well. So those two things are coming soon, which would be awesome because we'll probably end up using like press this button to opt out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay. Now we're done with the first page completely. Let's go into agent goals. So here's where we're going to have a little bit more fun. There's two ways to build bots. You can do the basic mode, which we're currently on, or we can switch to advanced mode, which we'll switch to and come back. So this is advanced mode where you'll do more prompting. Basic mode is you can select, hey, this is a quick little AI. This AI is going to handle pretty much everybody. It's going to grab name, email, contact issue. And then once the call is completed, we're going to send a post-call completion to all admins. And that's pretty much it. Like that would be this bot and that's it. So it would be for ++ detailing. It's not going to really have a full understanding of the business unless we added a knowledge base. And all it's going to do is going to, hey, who am I talking to? What's your email? What issue do you have? Oh, you need a detail. Cool. Well, let's get you over. I'll notify one of the team members to have a conversation or reach out to you ASAP, right? So we can trigger a workflow to send that internal notification.
Which is sick, by the way.
Yeah, which is sick. So this is the basic way to do things. Again, if I was doing it this way, I would add a knowledge base about the industry, about the business, and what they could potentially, some frequently asked questions. Jeff calls in, or we're using Outbound, however, this voice AI, and all it's going to do is going to pull the data from the knowledge base, grab your name. If you ask a question, it's going to be able to answer the question based off the knowledge base. Grab your email for future reference, or to book an appointment with you for future reference, the manual way. And then grab your contact issue. Hey, what are you reaching out to us about? Oh, I really, really need a detail. Or you need an interior detail. Awesome. Perfect. And if it has any questions in between, it's going to utilize the knowledge base to actually answer those questions. It's not going to book appointments. It's not going to do anything super crazy. It's just there as a customer service rep at the end of the day. And you can trigger a workflow to send an internal notification to, said business or said client, or you can actually send an email post call to the client like, hey, call just happened with your AI. Make sure to reach out to this client because they need this.
Yep. And then real quick on the knowledge base, another thing that I see people overthink all the time, they think just cramming this thing with knowledge and uploading all the stuff to the knowledge base makes it better. If you want our streamlined knowledge base blueprint, there'll be a link somewhere below here that you can grab that. It's a simple Google Doc, but it's like the little things that we add in there to start with. And then again, what is it? Live data
is the best data.
Is the best data, and then add to it from there, unless you know exactly what should be going in there. So of
course,
just don't overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Okay. And so that's pretty much it for the basic mode. And a whole separate video, we talk about the knowledge base. So be sure to go watch that whole video where we actually talk about knowledge base, and then be sure to click the link down below to grab that knowledge base cheat sheet. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the basic mode for building a voice AI. And we walk through all of that. So now we'll go ahead and switch over to the advanced mode, and we'll talk about the tokens as we switch over to the advanced mode. So with tokens, if you're not on like the $97 a month unlimited bot plan that you get for each sub account, you're going to be paying per usage, right? So tokens, and we talked about this previously, where the more you prompt, the more input you give it, and the more output you do is going to take those things into factor. It's actually going to bill you more. So if you have a bunch of prompting, you have a bunch of stuff in your knowledge base, it's going to actually charge you more. And you can see shorter prompts and optimized knowledge base references reduce token usage and cost across the board.
This is what you were talking about earlier. You said over prompting is costing you.
Yeah. So over prompting is potentially costing you money. So you can see this is how many tokens we're currently using. If I go and I delete this, I just changed my tokens, right? If I go and delete this, I changed my tokens even more, right? So let me go Command Z.
I didn't even know that until right this second.
When you're hanging out with Charles, okay, well, I lost it. Okay, so
no Command Z, by the way.
Yeah. So let me go back and then get back into this bot.
And while he's doing this, think about it in two ways, though. So we do like to keep things simple with prompting. However, if you are working with a business that has a good process and it does require more prompting and it does technically cost more tokens, like don't think of it as like, oh, I'm spending more money per prompt or whatever. Because again, you're looking at total ROI in most cases. So like even if it's costing you more usage, but you're having higher quality conversations that are equating to more conversions, you could technically be making more money from more prompting. But I'm not saying to over prompt, just take that all into consideration. Don't try to pinch pennies when it's costing you dollars.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so in the advanced mode, we're not in basic. This is the basic. We're in advanced. We're now real good point before we move forward. Yes, once you're in advanced and you're actually saved, you can't switch back to basic. Just a heads up on that. Yeah. Thank you, because I made that mistake where I didn't want something to be advanced and I had to restart. Whatever.
I remember that day.
Okay, so whenever we're talking about the advanced mode, we're talking about prompting. You're prompting technically. At this point in time, you're now prompting voice AI. Here's the biggest thing that you're going to see, and I want you to know and you take away. If the only thing you take away from this video is simple sales, simple scales, and live data is the best data. Do not overcomplicate your prompting. GHL built this. They built this voice AI. They have a good understanding of how this thing works. I'm assuming because they built it. So don't come in here and delete everything and start completely from scratch.
Like a lot of people do.
Yes. And then you just start putting random things thinking that you're a prompt engineer and you're the best prompt guy on the planet. Like you don't need to do that. Utilize the same structures that they currently have and make the necessary tweaks based off of your industry and the business you're working with.
Yeah, and I just want to echo that a little bit because there's a lot of people in the GHL community, I call them like the voice AI bros or prompt bros, that will have you thinking you have to do all this crazy prompting, then put it in another program to condense it so you could fit even more. Like I still see that to this day, and it's like the craziest, most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. Less is more in most instances. Yes. So think about it that way.
Yeah, less is more in most instances. And then pretty much the lens that I want you to look through whenever you're prompting your bots, if you're prompting in an advanced mode, is you're talking to a fifth grader. So how you're talking to a fifth grader and you need this fifth grader to book these appointments or do this specific task. What information does it need to book these appointments or do this specific task and have these conversations? Is that pricing? Is that, what goals, what do we need from the client before we book the appointment, et cetera? So number one, that is the biggest thing is like simplify it. Do not overcomplicate it. You do not need 10,000 words or anything crazy and nothing.
Even though they just made the windows to where you could put more stuff in there, does not mean you have to max it out.
Exactly. Yeah. So just a good rule of thumb, we're typically, what I'm doing is anytime I have my own special GPT that pretty much same structure, I just put in some information about the industry and it keeps the same structure as this with general rules. It handles the call inquiries and logic, and then agent roles and objective. And then it actually creates the structured call flow as well. So with that being said, again, come in here and then make your necessary updates. So you are my agent. So I'm going to just change this for the time being. So you are Chloe, a dedicated customer support, a team member. So I like to also use smaller words because what it reads and how you're prompting is also gonna take that in consideration with its responses. So if you're giving it a bunch of big words, what is it? You're training it on big words. It's probably gonna say some bigger words rather than like, hey, you're a team member at plus detailing, right? So you a team member at plus detailing, and I'm gonna do the same thing that I did earlier. Plus,
whoa,
plus detailing. I'm going to just keep it lowercase. Focus on assisting my clients. Your goal, gather contact information. If the caller queries match a configured tool trigger, use the appropriate tool. Perfect. That's literally it. Gather the contact information. And if the queries match, then configure the tool. Then we'll talk about the tools here in a little bit. If the caller asks a question, check whether the question matches a tool's trigger. So when we're talking about tools trigger, we're talking about these actions down here. So define the agent's actions for the call, their specific task the agent will perform. So one of the things we can do, we come down here and we're talking about booking an appointment. And let's just select a calendar, run the detailed calendar, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit. I just want to plug this in really, really quick because if a caller asks a question about calendar, it'll then go and be able to utilize the booking appointment tool in action, right? So we come down here, we can even see more of the prompting. These are all foundational promptings that you can use. Some of the general rules, one of the big rules that I love to add inside of here as well is don't use the caller's name more than 2 times. Right. So one of the things that I've always seen with AI is that it'll tend to say like, "Hey Jeff, how's it going, Jeff?
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Good to know,
et cetera,
Jeff.
et cetera." So this is a quick little prompt. So don't use the caller's name more than 2 times, or you can say, only use the caller's name when necessary, right? So it's not always pulling in Jeff's name. It's like, it's just going throughout the sentence. So it's like, "Hey Jeff, how can I help you today?" Awesome. Instead of it being like, "Hey, that's great. Thank you so much." It's like, "Awesome. We'd love to help you get set up with the detail." Boom. Okay. And then here's where you would actually, your structured call flow script. So this is where you would actually create your step 1. Like for instance, in structure, ensure the caller prompt for a callback. So let's get rid of this and let's do grab, determine.
And determine's a great word to use
Yeah.
When prompting any sort of AI.
Callers, vehicle type. And of course, I'll minimize prompting here, and I would add more prompting around the vehicle type, how to ask an example, etc. And then 2, so we can go determine, and let's get rid of this. So determine vehicle type. We'll go 2. We'll go, let me delete this here. To determine the service they are interested in. And we'll go 1 more. 3, determine the contacts.
Now, how many questions do
Address.
you usually ask?
3 to 4 max. Okay. And actually, we're not going to do address because we're not mobile. We're a shop. So let's get email. Determine the contacts email address. This will be used for booking their service. Boom. Right. So call conclusion. This is also pretty important. So call conclusion. And then let's go 4 actually. Book their required service. And then call conclusion. Instruct in the call once you have catered the caller's queries and gathered their requested details by thanking the caller again, assuring them that their issue is being addressed and wishing them a pleasant day. So for this, I can get rid of assuring their issue is being addressed.
Unless it's a customer support bot. But
of course.
Yeah.
So gather the requested details by thanking the caller again and wishing them a pleasant day. Perfect. Like we can leave that completely fine. Again, this was really simple, straightforward. I didn't really change much about this. I would, if I had more time and I was building this for a real client, I would add a little bit more to this. I would probably spend an extra 15 to 30 minutes prompting a little bit more, but I would send it.
What would you do though, roughly, differently?
I would add a little bit more context around the script and then maybe add some more general rules based off the industry. Like for instance, one of my general rules that I really love is talking about pricing. So
that's a really good one, actually.
So pricing. So if the caller asks about pricing, tell them that the price ranges from $200 to $1,500. But it all depends on the vehicle condition, service, and vehicle type. A team member will discuss the price prior to the service being completed. So now the voice AI, again, just a small little thing. Now the voice AI has an understanding of like, what do we do about pricing? Most of the time people are calling, they want to know a little bit about pricing. So if we're leaving the voice AI and our bot in the dark around pricing, it's going to create something.
It'll make something up.
It'll make, and if your knowledge base isn't like well structured and optimized around pricing, it's going to make something up. So with this being said, it like, hey, if the caller asks about pricing, like here's your general rules. If they ask about pricing, tell them this, and tell them that at the end of it, tell them like, hey, a team member will discuss all of this. Like I'm just here to book your appointment and get you up and running, but don't worry, team member will take care of you.
And depending on what service and what industry that you're doing, like think about that one, because your clients may not know how to answer that question properly. For instance, with our body contouring and weight loss clients, people always ask the price. How much is it after the trial? And we always answer it, hey, if somebody asks a price, we say it ranges from packages range from $500 to $5,000. Now, a couple things. We don't have a $500 package. We don't have a $5,000 package. Our average packages are $1,500 to $2,500. However, we don't want to lose a new lead by getting sticker shock before they ever come in. So consider that. If people are asking that question, your bot answers, and then they don't move forward, you probably need to give it more of a range, saying, hey, yeah, from 500 to 5,000, but it depends on how your body responds, or depends on your vehicle type, condition, etc. We'll discuss that, more in person, or, when you get here or whatever. So again, we'll probably include that in the blueprint. When you click the link below, we'll have some general things to add into prompting with that knowledge-based blueprint. And again, for free, all you got to do is opt in, give us your email address, and get on our list, and we'll get you that for free.
Cool. Okay. Next thing is going to be the evaluate. This is actually really, really cool. Before we move forward, I want to evaluate my prompt. This is actually going to be
I haven't even seen this yet.
New that GHL implemented because people were struggling with prompts and their voice AIs were everywhere. So you can actually have an AI evaluate your prompt. So let's have it evaluate the prompt, and it's going to pop over on the right-hand side here in a second. So custom variable usage unresolved. So the prompt does not use any custom variables for caller information, example, name, email, and a spoken or instructional. So it's pretty much telling me like, hey, you are Chloe, a team member, booking. Let's use a custom variable, contact first names, required service on assisting and booking contact first names. So then now we'd pretty much be like, hey, oh, thank you so much for letting me know. Like I can give my bot a little bit more context to who I'm talking to by adding some custom variables to this right here. And then once I'm done, I can click resolve on this.
That's so cool, actually.
Boom. And so now it's resolved. And then tool trigger. So this action book appointment slot has the trigger prompt. When user confirms the booking slot and you need to collect their email, the prompt should ensure that the user confirms the slot. Chloe collects the email before proceeding. So this is pretty much clarifying my book appointment slot and my book appointment trigger and action. So with this, I'm going to waive this because I don't work for what I have, but this is something I could look and be like, okay, let me go back to what I talked about with booking, and I have a booking next year, make sure they align. So I want to waive this one for this point right now though. So waive, I'm going to get out of there. Clarify trigger for get available slots. This action get available slots has a trigger prompt when user wants to book an appointment and ask for available slots. Same thing here. It's pretty much telling me like, hey, we need to determine book the required service. We need to actually fix this trigger and letting my AI know like, hey, use this action. Whenever this happens, this is going to happen. So yeah, just trigger clarity and an action alignment. I'm going to waive these two for this time being because it will work at a simple level for what we're trying to do. If this was a real client and a real bot that I'm actually getting up and running, I would take these in consideration, come back over to my prompt, and then actually make the necessary updates. Okay, there's that. Let me save. I've made the mistake where I'm not saving.
Lives.
Saving saves lives. So now we're saved here. Let me minimize this.
Here too.
And then let's go here. Now we're in the actions. So we can have new actions, call transfer, trigger a workflow, send SMS, update contact field, and custom action. I'm not going to talk about custom action in here. We'll review it really, really short, really quick. Personally, I haven't had any situations where I need any sort of custom action with doing any endpoints or anything around these lines and the parameter variables and all this extra stuff. This stuff is cool, but for the most part, guys, keep it simple. Don't do a bunch of crazy stuff. Yeah. You don't need to do a bunch of crazy stuff.
We work with small local businesses, and there's no need for that for any of the clients that we work with. We do like to keep things simple and sellable and scalable. So
I'm using it all in GHL, right?
yeah.
So new action. Let's go to call transfer. So transfer to Jeff. I'll put Jeff's phone number here, right here, guys, for everybody. Okay. So when should the call transfer take place? What to say before transferring the call? Here whisper message when the call with call summary on transfer. So your AI can now transfer calls as well. So let's just say Jeff, and let's just put a random phone number in here. So this is the phone number. I'm actually going to be transferring this call over. Let's just say this is Jeff's phone number. This is not Jeff's phone number, but let's just say it is for this time being. Don't call this number. He's not going to answer. Okay. So when should the call transfer take place? So it gives you an example. If the user wants to talk to a manager or a business owner, if the user says they are interested in a ceramic
the ER.
Sorry about that. Ceramic coat. If the user says they're interested in a ceramic coat. So if they say anything about a ceramic coat, we want to transfer this call over to
money
Jeff.
on the line.
That's money on the line.
Ping me.
Let's transfer that call ASAP. Got it. So then what are we saying to transfer the call? Awesome. Let me transfer you over to our ceramic specialist.
I was about to ask if you could spell that.
I didn't go to college yet, guys.
Me either.
I barely passed high school. So let me transfer you over to our ceramic specialist. Boom. And then we can send Jeff a whisper message on the transfer. So now having these calls inbound, they're running ads, whoever's calling this number, and then mid-conversation, somebody says something about ceramic coating. We haven't prompted this bot around ceramic coating, nor do we want these bots to handle the ceramic coating leads because they're more high intent, they're higher ticket. We want to put a little bit of manual action, a little bit of elbow grease into these leads because they are more valuable.
As long as your client's actually going to answer the call, though. Don't transfer them if nobody's going to answer.
Exactly. But we know Jeff's on the line. We know Jeff's there.
Money's calling. I'm always answering.
Money's calling. We're there, right? Yeah. So we're going to save that. And now we have a transfer call taking place during the call. Before we go to the new actions, we have after the call. The same actions can be done after the call. Most of the time, you guys, I'm using during the call. I really haven't seen a point where you need to do any actions after the call. But again, that's solely up to the aspect of what you're actually building. Maybe there is a specific situation where you would do that, but most part I'm doing during the call.
Again, just to kind of like get the mind wandering real quick on the after the call, triggering a workflow or sending an SMS. Like I could think of an instance where if let's just say somebody opted in for something, call, talk to them, and then like afterwards, it's like, okay, cool, thanks for all that. We're excited to see you. I'm going to go ahead and send an extra email or a text your way with an extra resource or something. And then it happens after the call. So it looks like the person or the AI did an extra thing for them. Like that's, I'd probably use the heck out of that.
I like that. Okay. So during the call, we can also trigger another workflow. So this is another action. So this is just, we'll just label it pricing or website. So select a published a workflow to publish. We'll just do this one right here for now. So when to trigger the workflow, same aspect as earlier, like what should the AI be looking for, and then what to say when the workflow is being triggered. Like, hey, so user is interested in I'll fix it later. All of our services. Right. So let's fix this. Number one. It's that bad.
Dang. Yeah. Just take that S out. Oh.
Chop.
E.
Ah. Okay. There you go. So user is interested in all of our services. So whenever the user's like, hey, what other services do you have? Right, we can trigger the workflow to actually send a quick text with a link to our services. So the detail page that has like all the services that are included, and then we can have a trigger like what we want the voice AI to say. I just went ahead and sent you over a link to our website, which has all
some grammar. Okay. You guys seen them get better in real time. This is cool.
I went ahead and sent over a link to our website, which has all of our services. Boom. So now we're triggering workflow. We're going to send over that link because somebody said they're interested in like other services, right? So we'll go new action. We're going to send SMS.
And there is a limit on how many of these we can do, right? It's like 5 or 6.
Yeah. There's a limit. I mean, you wouldn't need more than like 5 to 10.
Yeah, I only say that because like, don't go crazy with this. Just because you have 5 or 6 that you can use does not mean you have to use them.
Send SMS to customers. So why would we send SMS to customer? Let's see pricing. Give me an example of why we would send SMS. We just did one with a workflow.
In the instance of the detailer, let's just say we booked an appointment for detailing. I would maybe send them a text with what to do before they bring their car in. Like, make sure you remove this, or
we could do that in automations. So that's actually a really, really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Some of the stuff can be done in automations after an appointment is booked via triggering like a booked appointment automation workflow. But for this case in point, why are we sending an SMS during a call? Why are we sending an SMS? Here's one. I
have another very abstract one, but go ahead.
Book later. So this SMS will be sent with this message. Okay. So
this is a good one right here.
Here is that link to book your detail service, and then link, right? So when should the SMS delivery, if the user doesn't want to book an appointment with us right now, boom, right? So if we're on the phone with Chloe, and Dakota's having a call with a lead, and they're going back and forth, and Dakota's trying to book them on an appointment. And the user goes, I'm super busy. I don't know what my schedule looks like right now. Can you send me a link? Or I just don't want to book right now. Got it. Here's the link to book your detail service. So we're going to send over a quick text. Here's the link to book your detail service, link down below. And then we're obviously triggering off of that. So we'll also add what to say. I understand.
Let me go ahead and send you over a link.
Yeah, I understand.
To book when you're ready.
Go ahead and send you over a link to book when you are ready. Boom. Boom. So now we're sending an SMS whenever somebody is not ready to book their detail service at that point in time, and they can book it later.
Very cool. Another thing I was thinking, and this again, totally abstract, but like, I just think about as I learn this stuff, like, if you were doing a promotion and after listening to Money Models, asking if they knew anybody else that'd be interested in this, okay, great. If they do, well, I'm gonna send you a link to go ahead and share with them to, come in and book. Because we're doing a referral contest or whatever.
That's really good.
So I just wanted to document that for me for later. We're gonna use that.
Okay, so update contact field is the last action that we'll talk about. We'll actually go to the appointment booking. So update contact field, second to last, appointment booking last. So you can see that you can only do one calendar and one appointment. So update contact field. Why would we be doing this? So earlier we had in our prompting service type. So we need to update a contact field with that information. So service type, and we want to do this during the call, not after the call. So which contact field? I don't know if I have. I do have a service type. Oh, and I even have a voice service type. So which contact field to be updated? Pick the correct custom field. Personally, at the same time, y'all guys, I make separate custom fields for conversational and voice.
So text-based or voice-based?
Yes. Okay. So I make custom fields for both, and I make different like folders for both. So like on your left-hand side,
in the contacts
field, you'll see voice custom fields, right? And then conversational custom fields, and label it however you want. But this way I can actually determine if they came from voice, this is what got updated. What if they also talk to my conversational bot? This is also what got updated. Because I've seen what you don't want to happen is like you have a conversation via text, and you're using one custom field. It gets updated with some information from 6 months ago, and then at this current time they call in. You're using the same custom field, and it overwrites the initial custom field. Right. So now we're losing data whenever we could have kept data. And maybe it was 6 months ago they said this via conversation or via SMS.
You sound like you've done this before.
I have done this before. And then via voice, they said this at current time, right? So that's personally a little tip. I use separate custom fields. Okay. Let's update the field with callers, the service, the caller is interested.
And while you're doing this,
And
this is very powerful, guys and gals. Oh, go ahead.
so overwrite existing contact field. You can overwrite that. You can keep it the same, etc. Again, this is why I'm actually going to be utilizing different custom fields, so I don't have to run into that issue.
If you were working with a detailer, it may be worth overriding. If you're doing like a DBR 6 months later, maybe they don't have the same car, maybe it's in a better condition, et cetera, et cetera. So you can override it. So do think about that when you're putting this stuff in here. Second, though, like imagine, and I can't wait for radio selects to be able to be populated with this stuff. We've been talking to the developers for that.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot wait.
Talk about that.
But imagine, let's just say we're collecting the vehicle type and they say 2025 Ford Raptor. And you've got their email address now. They're on a list, and we could send out personalized emails that use that contact custom field in the email. It's like, hey, Jeff, still got that 2025 Ford Raptor. We're doing a special for 2025 Ford Raptors right now. Like, you could do some freaking cool things with the automations and marketing with this.
This is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to share a little tip. What I'm doing for a current client right now is we're doing a database reactivation, and we've personalized it based off of the city that they're actually in. They're in 4 different states, multiple different states, but we've personalized the database reactivation based off of this city alone. We're running
a big deal you're working on.
Yeah, yeah, running a special for this city only. We have multiple team members, so now everybody, we're using that custom field for that city. So quick tool tip, that is great. Utilize custom field data. And I also want to touch on this as well. Some custom fields aren't going to be able to be updated at this time. I believe, from my understanding, this could change at the time you're watching this video, but at this time, we're only single line and multi-line custom fields. So if you have radio selects, drop down singles and all that good stuff, unfortunately, I believe at this time of shooting this video, those aren't actable. Like, you can't use those whenever we're updating the contact fields within Voice AI or Conversational AI. But I believe
it's coming. It's coming.
Like you said, it's coming because we use a lot of those, and we love drop down singles, radio selects. But we also can make do with single line and multi-line. So, boom, that's it for updating the contact field. Now we'll talk about the appointment booking. So when we come to the appointment booking,
and real quick on the update contact field, you're probably going to want to do that for each question that you ask and gather information for.
Gather data. Data is your best friend. You want to gather as much.
Sorry,
data.
I got a riff again just for a second. So. But collecting all this data from all the questions that you're asking and updating the contact fields, one thing we've done, especially with conversational AI, but voice too, is like obviously call summary, but you could, in theory, create a lead profile that you're sending to your client that has all this stuff ready at a glance. So when somebody comes in, you know, if that information's on the appointment booking, great. If not, you can have all the stuff on a little nice cheat sheet for them when somebody brings in their car or somebody comes in for weight loss. You know what they've tried, what didn't work, et cetera, and send that information after you've collected it. So there's so much stuff you could do with that and just wow the hell out of your client.
Yeah. Okay. And so now he's right. Absolutely. Data is important. Yeah. So the last portion to this is appointment booking. So real quick, before we even select, like we already have a calendar selected, make sure your calendar's set up properly. Like I've seen this issue probably over 1,000 times where people will watch my videos or use our resources and be like, you are terrible because your stuff doesn't work. And then to come to find out that they had a calendar set up, but it was inactive, or they didn't have a user selected, or the availability was like closed off.
That's an understatement. That is probably the biggest customer support thing that we get, out of the thousands of people.
So active calendar, number one, active. Make sure it's active calendar. It will
published,
not populate.
Right? It's in
published. Yeah. Active. It has green. It says active or published, one or the other. Number one. Number two, you have a user selected to the calendar. It could be active, but there's no user selected to the calendar. It's not going to read data and it's not going to book appointments. That's
put that
two.
on the list of.
So there's a user selected on the calendar. Number three, availability in 2 areas. The first area you need to check availability is on the calendar itself. Some people close off availability, which then doesn't allow the actual AI to book any appointments. Or number two, the user connected to the calendar, their availability is closed off, which then leaves no availability to book appointments. So 3 things: active calendar.
It sounds like you have some trauma around.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Active calendar, user selected, availability on the user level and on the calendar level. Boom. So just to be mindful of that, select your right calendar, and then days offering. So how many days can you actually set for the AI to actually book appointments? How many slots can you book per day? And then hours between slots. Usually, again, this is going to be dependent on the client you're working with. For instance, we're doing like life insurance stuff. They do a lot of appointments. So we're making the gap a lot smaller, and they do as many appointments you can offer in one day. And then days are offering services like set the number of consecutive days the agent suggests. So we can literally change this to one. It's like, hey, you can only book on this day, and then appointment slots per day. Boom. Right. So how it's going to actually mention your appointments is actually very, very important.
So this is where you okay. Just so you guys know, when I'm like texting on my phone, I'm actually making notes because I'm actually learning a lot in here because he does most of the building for us. So this is how you edit it, and we usually do the 2 days of offering dates. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because if think about it, when you're talking to it or people are interacting with it, the AI is going to say, okay, I have this tomorrow, this I have this on Wednesday, and I have this and that's very unnatural sounding in most instances. So offering 2 dates with, just a few slots or like 2 time slots is typically what we do and try to make people fit into those slots. And then if they say, oh, that doesn't work, it'll give them more versus giving like 9 different appointment times at once, which just sounds so unnatural.
Yeah. And so just to summarize and put a bow on this aspect, this is pretty much how your AI is going to be asking to book the appointment. So it's going to ask Jeff, hey, I have today and tomorrow at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Like which one works best for you? So how do you want your AI to actually ask for these appointments? And that's it for that. And then real quick, if it doesn't already have the email contact, it's going to ask for it already. So yeah, we'll click save on there. And yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah, guys. We just went through a full build, pretty much a pretty simple build. And now I want Jeff to actually, I'll give this a call. So give me 1 second. I'm going to set this up. Oh, actually, we'll go to phone availability. So go to phone availability, and I'm going to blur this phone number out. So you have to have a phone number connected. So we're on phone availability. So phone number / number pool. We're going to click on this drop down. If you do not have a number that is active in the account, you can't actually make any calls. Go purchase a number. You're going to have to do your persona and verify yourself to actually purchase a phone number.
Or your client, right?
Or your client. So we're going to purchase this phone number or select this phone number for this specific voice AI. So now, and when we set this up, if anybody calls this phone number, they're automatically, the AI that we just built, once we turn this on, is going to automatically start having the conversations. We can see down here, enable AI as a backup to the phone number. So what does this mean? An AI agent will answer the call if the user or call forwarding number doesn't respond. So let's break this down before we move forward and wrap up this video and we do the demo. So you have a phone number in GHL right here. We can set this phone number to be assigned to a user, or we can call forward this phone number. If someone calls this number, it's then going to forward to Jeff. If Jeff doesn't answer, it's going to loop back and the voice AI is going to then pick up the phone call. You're going to handle that in the phone number settings. And let me go to that really, really quick so we can discuss that as well. So let me go to phone numbers. And we're going to go to that same phone number we were just on, this 629 phone number. We're going to click edit configuration. So if we're sending phone calls to Jeff, how many times do we want the ring incoming call timeout? So if we're doing 5, so it has to be 20 seconds, 20 seconds. And then if he doesn't answer at 20 seconds, what's going to happen? AI is going to pick up the phone call. Boom. Right. So we can also set it to ring incoming users. If we're ringing to an incoming user, it's ringing to myself. If I don't pick up the call within 20 seconds, what's going to happen?
AI going to take it over there too?
AI is going to take it over there too. So yeah, just wanted to mention that really, really quick. If you have call forwarding set up and if you have a user attached to this, if they don't answer, the voice AI attached to that number is automatically going to pick up. So let's go back to the spot one last time. Let's go to phone availability. Let's click on this phone number. And then we can also set working hours for the agent itself.
This is a big one too.
Yeah. So if you don't want your, like for instance, on Monday, let's do Monday through Friday. if the client you're working with is like, hey, we are really good at handling the calls during the day. We have Samantha. That's literally her whole job. She just answers phone calls. We suck in the afternoon and we suck on Saturdays and Sundays. Let's change this to what time do they close? They close at 5 p.m. and let's go to 5 to 10 p.m., right? Whatever. So this would be the bot's availability. This is when it would be on from Monday through Friday from 5 to 10. The bot will be on. And then on Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be open from 5 to 10 as well. And so we'll save that across the board. So Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. This is when the bot will be active. And if somebody calls this number, it'll automatically pick up. And then from 5 to 10 on Monday through Friday after we close the doors and Samantha's gone for the day.
And you'd only have like 2 scenarios of this, but we do get this question a lot. So either it's a backup for when people are not able to answer it, or you set it to compensate or pick up after hours and on weekends. That's a big use case that we use it for, is just people want it after hours or before hours and on weekends.
Yeah. Okay. So now all you do is call that number. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the set working hours because it wouldn't be, it's already 3 o'clock right now, so it wouldn't answer. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Let's click save. You should be typing that phone number in and go ahead and give that thing a call. Give that thing a call.
Let's see.
Yeah, you have reached Plus Plus Detailing. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I need a full detail on my car.
Got it. Could you tell me what type of vehicle you have? For example, is it a sedan, SUV, truck, or something else?
Yeah, it's a Mercedes GLE 63 SUV.
Thanks for that. So you're looking for a full detail on your Mercedes GLE 63 SUV. To get started, I'll need to know your email address so we can send you the confirmation details. Could you share that with me?
Yeah, it's jeff@gmail.com.
Thanks. Just to confirm, that's jeff@gmail.com, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. Let me check the available appointment slots for you real quick. Hang tight.
All right.
Here are the available slots. Today, October 31st at 2:30 p.m., Monday, November 3rd at 8 a.m. Do any of these work for you?
Monday at 8 a.m. is perfect.
You're all set for Monday, November 3rd at 8 a.m. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Do I need to do anything special before I bring it in?
Great question. There's nothing special you need to do before bringing your car in. Just make sure to remove any personal items from the vehicle so we can focus on the detailing. If there's anything specific you'd like us to pay attention to, feel free to mention it when you drop it off. Anything else I can help with?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for choosing us. Have a great day.
Pretty cool. And it was cool like to ask it that question at the end to see how it responds, because no knowledge base, no extra prompting about that stuff. That was pretty slick.
And you could see, like, just with the simple prompting I gave it, y'all guys, from earlier, I literally just gave it, here's your call flow script. Determine the caller's vehicle type, determine the service interested in, get their email address, and then book the required service. That was it. And it followed it pretty closely to a T, without really anything super, super crazy, without changing anything super, super crazy. It even asked, obviously, it introed properly. It asked the questions properly, and it booked an appointment as well. So if we go over to like our inbound, you can see total calls, and we can see ourselves right here in this total calls appointment booking as well. So boom.
Very cool. Well, yeah, so I guess you saw how to build a super simple bot. Now, of course, you can make it a little more complex if you want. Don't go too complex. And if you want to make it super, super easy, I'm going to have a shameless plug here for you. In the bottom below here, there's a description where you can literally go and join our school community. It's like the craziest, lowest price it's ever been for the month. And we're going to give you our full agent library for voice, which includes 20 real bots we built for real businesses in real industries. And then also our chat agent library. And it's all built in GHL. You get that just for joining. And we do new bots in there from working with real businesses each month. You get access to them. Just import them into your account and build from there if you want to. But if not, no worries. Grab your the bot, the knowledge blueprint, and the freebie that we got you. So that's it. We'll see you in another video. Later.